All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first online meeting of Exploring Computer Science Connecticut. I'm James Vasescus. I'm from Hartford Magnet Trinity College Academy and the project coordinator. I'd like everybody to go around and just introduce themselves with their name and the school they're teaching at or their affiliation. So we're going to start with Gail.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see and or hear you after a long time since the summer. And I'm at University of Oregon, and I guess that's about all there is to say at this point in time. I'm excited to hear how things are going from all of you.
Okay. Corinne.
Corinne Byrne from Reach in West Hartford.
Drew.
Drew Bennett from Blue Communications Academy in Hartford.
Frank.
Frank Balistreri, Foreign High School in Milford.
Jamansky. Did I say that right? Jamansky.
Oh, that would be me. I'm Julie Jastrzemski. I'm from Conard High School in West Hartford.
Okay. If I say your name wrong, please correct me too. Tom.
It's totally fine. I didn't realize that was me.
Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom Holloway, Classical Magnet School in Hartford.
Jillian.
Jillian Zapanero, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts in Hartford.
And Michelle.
Michelle Murphy, East Lyme High School in East Lyme, Connecticut.
Okay. And Oria.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm Anitra Ori. I'm at Breakthrough 2 Magnet School in Hartford.
Okay, great. Someone else just on. And who was it? Oh, hi, Rhonda. Can you introduce yourself along and just tell us what school you're teaching at? Rhonda?
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Can you just introduce yourself and what school you're teaching at?
I'm Rhonda Sullivan, and I teach at the Academy in Milford.
Okay, great. All right, so let's get started with our meeting on the agenda with talking about, just what we're doing with the curriculum and stuff like that, and our practices and, what we're finding so far. And Gail's here. Someone needs to mute the mic if they can. I think Rhonda. So just have Rhonda in the bottom. You just hit the mute button on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Okay, beautiful. That way we don't have all that feedback coming back through. Awesome. So on the agenda, we have Gail here. So if you have any burning questions about, what you've gone through so far and you want some advice or things like that, now would be the time to ask. We're still figuring this out too. So for right now, I guess, just kind of until we figure out maybe a better method, just kind of hold up our hand a little bit and then I'll call you and, I'll tell you you're on deck. So, all right. So let's go through this. So does anybody have anything that they would like to kick us off with, or would you like me to start? Okay. Mr. Jamansky?
Okay. One of the things that I notice is that I want student groups to have opportunities to share out their findings after most, activities. And when I give that opportunity to all the groups, it ends up taking so much more time. And that time is what I think could end up meaning for a much longer unit than I want it to be. And I want to stay on track because I really want to get to the last unit, even though I know during the summer program, we talked about how not everybody will get that far. My colleagues and I really want to. So we're trying to move quickly, but I am finding that I can't give my groups as much time to present. And I'm not sure if anyone has a good idea for how to reduce that, but still give students an opportunity to share out.
We'll start off with Gail for that one. Can you comment on that one first, Gail, for us?
Well, actually, if someone has ideas, I think it would be great to hear from other folks. I appreciate the fact that you said you really are struggling because you want to get through all the units, and I think that's admirable. I think you'll find that the time you spend now, if you talk to experienced teachers of this, the time you spend now will buy you time later on, because you'll have established a culture that is such that you don't have to remind them constantly about how to work in a group and how to provide feedback and how to give a presentation. And so I think from a big picture perspective, I think that's one thing that I would say, just try not to worry about too much. But then a couple of other strategies I know people have tried is to say that not every group gives feedback or does a presentation on every single opportunity. You have some sort of rotation, and they know that. So that you're going to randomly pick a couple of groups each time, maybe once you've developed the skill in the students. So those first few might take more time, but as you move along, you may want to try something like, I've heard people say popsicle sticks, things like that, that they randomly pull groups out, so that it's not every group every time once they understand what a presentation is supposed to look like. So those are a couple of thoughts that I have.
Okay, Tom?
Sorry, hit the wrong button. I'm going to say that I sort of agree with Gail, and I feel the pain, but I've sort of getting the impression that it's better to slow down. It's better to give the kids their time, because they seem to be taking a lot of pride and ownership in what they're doing. I would hate to put a damper on that. I'm very tempted to just give them their time, because I don't want to break the enthusiasm and the zeal that they appear to have at the beginning. I can see maybe pushing them a little bit in the future, but for now, I'm kind of letting it play out at the speed it seems to be playing out at.
Okay, good.
For what that's worth.
Anybody else have anything to comment on this particular topic? I'm also struggling myself, letting the kids, get through things and struggling and presenting. But, I'm taking my time too as well. And I'm just really, plodding along. I feel I'm moving a lot slower myself too, as we were talking about earlier before we started our hangout with a few people. But, like Ms. Chapman said, it's, pay now so we don't have to pay later is probably the best process. Even with the first unit, I'm buying the computer. I'm thinking about, going. What's the old saying? The teacher will have the perfect lesson by the end of the day. Yeah. So going through it, making the mistakes now, thinking of ways to add things. Even like having someone from Best Buy come in or something like that next year, because I have a friend who does that. Thinking of ways to add things going through it. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to pick another topic to talk about or share, or from things you liked or best practices to other issues, but other pitfalls you come across that can help people in the future, who either view the recording or teach it next year, so it gives them a little heads up on things that they can avoid maybe, or help them develop that perfect lesson that we're all going through right now. Okay. Once again, go ahead. Mr. Mansky.
So I was doing the Web 2.0 activity, and I found that a lot of the sites listed were not any, like, I don't remember which one wasn't actually an application anymore, but there are a few of them that are not current. And I've found the ECS site the CS10 community site really helpful in giving additional, perhaps more current options. So if you're not super familiar with using that site, there are a lot of good things on there already. And it was fun to kind of think about what are other applications that are exciting for students to look through, just not just the ones that are in the book. So I just wanted to share that. One, check, make sure that those sites still exist, and two, that your school can access the ones that you do recommend the students use, and to look outside the box to find other ones that aren't listed.
Well, just to keep you going here, what were some of those extra Web 2.0 sites that you found and used?
Let me quickly, I made a list. Let me quickly look it up. I don't remember offhand.
Okay. Well, off mine too, just to piggyback off that, on a little bit later in the unit on the evaluation of websites. Burning question that's been kind of bothering me, not bothering me, but just curious, Ms. Chapman, is I was at the 100 Teacher Conference in DC, in Washington, DC, and I was sitting down with other ECS teachers, and we were talking about the Martin Luther King website, and I noticed that was eliminated as one of the sites. Can I ask why? Because as a former social studies teacher, I found that fascinating.
So you can ask, first of all, Gail, so let's get that out of the way.
Okay.
And so this is one of the challenges we run into. I'm going to connect both of these conversations. As you can imagine, as soon as you put things in print, it becomes very difficult to maintain. So it's, one of the challenges of providing lists of websites is that we can't really keep track. We had updated those all last year. Apparently this year was the year things started to change. But as we've talked about in the PD, and we'll continue to talk about in PD throughout the course of the time you're working on this program, it's better to pick your own sites anyway, based on what students are interested in, or maybe they generate their own lists of websites. And certainly that CS for All Teachers Now website actually has lots of examples from teachers who have done this before. In terms of the Martin Luther King website, that was an NSF decision. That was not one that we were particularly happy about, because we thought that teachers who really were that uncomfortable with it would not use it. Okay. And it could provide tremendous, and did provide tremendous opportunity for conversation in classrooms. So I would encourage people to continue to use it, even though it's not in the current version.
Okay.
It's, again, understanding the dynamic of your building, of your students. I understand that there are environments in which creating any sort of controversy at all is problematic. But that's part of why you're the teacher, and we encourage you to think about your school environment. So.
Yes. So I did go out and get some links of my own. I did include the Martin Luther King one, and I did have some other, because I've taught this in the past, evaluating websites through, various other tech courses and stuff. I'm going to put a link in the chat window to my site here if you want to see. And I picked 4 sites that, some of them were silly, like the old DHMO hoax website that, said DHMO is dangerous and stuff, and it kills babies and all this. And it ends up, if you look it up, it's water. So, I had the kids go through. That's a tough website, actually, for kids to kind of figure out and go through. And so I shared that with you. Also, Elaine, when we posted the the form for questions for the Hangout. I am going to be sharing a folder with you. She gave some resources for buying a computer and just the basic terms and what she does. And I also uploaded a 20 definitions that I've used in other courses with a little matching quiz. And if you've done mobile CSP, you're kind of familiar with this too. And I see Miss Christy Ryder's on there. Hey, Miss Ryder, can you introduce yourself and tell us what school you're from?
Oh, sure. Hi, Christy Ryder. I'm from Metropolitan Learning Center. It's at Craig School in Bloomfield.
Okay. And Mr. Mansky, what did you find those sites yet? I don't think you heard me. Mr. Mansky, did you find those sites yet?
What's hilarious is that I'm not recognizing the name.
I'm sorry. I'm probably saying it not correctly too. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear you. Okay, so some of the things that I included were blogging sites, because I thought that would be interesting for students. And then task organizing sites, like Basecamp was cool. Google Keep. Let's see. I think for social bookmarking, I added Stumble Upon. Those are just a few of them.
That's great. Thanks. Appreciate that. So, does anybody else have any burning curriculum questions or things that they would like to share?
I do.
Who said I do? Go ahead. Is that somebody?
That was the background at my house.
Okay, no. Okay.
Anyway, I can say a few things. So I guess some of the challenges that I'm having at this point is that most of my students, they didn't take the class because they were interested in computer science. Instead, guidance kind of plopped them in there. So even though the engagement level is better than I expected, I still have some difficulty engaging everyone. And so the equity situation, I'm seeing it's already a problem, and we're already taking extra time with the lessons that we've done. We just started the internet searching lesson. So the computer buying project I think took us like 4 days. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel as smooth as I had hoped it would be.
Okay. Do they know how to buy a computer now then?
I believe so, yeah. I actually gave them a quiz on hardware just as a double check to make sure. But it actually does look like they've learned a fair amount. So I guess that is progress then, right?
Yeah, mission accomplished, because if you asked most of them beforehand, I think most of us agree, most of our students beforehand had no clue what to ask for and go for when they went to buy a computer in the store. They just kind of relied on those salesmen versus knowing what they needed. So,
but still the equity situation. My classes aren't large. I have 2 sections, I think 12 and 10. So the groups, I mean, there are only so many combinations of students, and I have a few, so regardless of where I put them, they still manage to not contribute a whole lot.
Does anybody have any advice or anything they can give Christy on this issue? I mean, I think we all find it from time to time in our classroom.
Okay, just keep plugging along.
Just keep plugging along. Would it be really an equity issue or a behavior issue? Gail, do you have something to say?
Well, I think it's early in the year, and that's why, I mean, Christy, unfortunately, you missed the first couple minutes where we actually talked about the fact that everybody's feeling behind. So, so relax.
All
That's
right.
part of what Unit 1 is really supposed to be about. And, you know, it's interesting. Small groups present different challenges than larger classes. I was just in Chicago last week, and I had observed classes that had 40 students in them, which is obviously too many. They would happily give you some of theirs, I'm sure. But having done PD for very small groups, you can't, right? There's only so many combinations. And so, you know, some things are going to take less time and some things are going to take more time. But I would just say keep plugging.
Okay.
Aaron, hey, you joined us. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what school you're from?
Okay, I got to do it quick because I'm kind of pressed for a bunch of things going on. So hi guys, my name's Aaron. Here in Hamden, Connecticut, but I teach at Milford and Joseph A. Foreign High School. Teaching the intro to the ECS course this year, and so far it's got mixed reviews. I got one student who dropped, but I think it's because of the parent, for the fact that they were expecting a lot more with the computers and the more technical, and I don't really think it had anything to really do with the class itself, as more with the stress fest of the parent trying to make sure that they take all AP everything as a freshman, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid's gonna explode. So that's a side moment. Second thing is everything's seems to be going well. There's a little bit of a hiccup because I was just trying to figure out the lessons and try to, you know, build it up as I go along. And then what's the other thing? The other thing is a lot of students, I got a lot of kickback a little bit with the Indian basket weaving tutorial and how it relates to computer science, and when are we going to get some computer related things and how does it all relate, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I basically, their learning skills with that were basically with presentation skills, learning to collaborate with new people in 2 different groups, and then, or 4 different groups, and then present for the second time on that lesson. So that was the only kind of real kickback that I got thus far. The peanut butter and jelly thing we did yesterday or the day before, that worked out pretty well. I mean, it didn't take an entire class period, but the main idea was to get sure that, you know, to make sure that computers follow directions, etc. And I'm getting ready to, I made my first review lesson for the first unit today, and I gave that to my students, which was a great handout to them because I referred to them on what is a computer. And a lot of them couldn't tell me, which was unbelievable. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just told you this whole freaking month what a computer was, and you don't know what it is? Come on. So that was very, very interesting, and I was like, what the heck? So, and there were some, you know, basic questions that they were, you know, inquiring about. But they got the gist of it. I gave them the worksheet to study, and the next long day, which is Thursday or Friday of this week, I'm going to give them the Unit 1 exam, if you will, and then we're going to start Unit 2. So that's where I'm at, and I will post a link to my portfolio for the Exploring Computer Science Principles, so if you want to take a look at it, and feel free to grab materials. I'm building it week by week, so bear with me. I think I'm like 1 week ahead of my time. If you're interested, just email me, acrnecki@worded.org, and it's in the chat right now. Sorry I'm going so fast, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got this. ZaraLearning.com. And that's
Aaron
where
builds good websites, by the way, with a lot of good materials. So.
What's that?
Aaron builds good websites, a lot of good materials, because we work together in the mobile CSP program. So it's another good resource for you.
Okay, so there it is. Bam. That's my site I'm building. It's a Moodle site. I'm building it on the fly. If you need access to it, I have the teacher materials so you can sort of see behind the scenes of things I've hidden from students. It's a work in progress. Like I said, it's just, you know, I'm gathering some YouTube videos and sort of, you know, Unit 1, Unit 2, sort of putting it together as I go along. And I have a year-long worth of material that I'm trying to condense in a half year. So there's a little bit of clipping, but it's selective clipping, and I'm sure we'll be able to get through it in a timely fashion. It's just new material for the first time, as you all know. So hang in there. You guys are doing fine. It gets better. Remember, this is the first time we're all doing this together as a unit. And I don't know. Keep your head up. You'll be fine. Don't worry.
Thanks.
That's it.
Thanks.
So I got to go. I can't hang too long because I'm supposed to meet somebody right now. I apologize for the short thing. I hope I said what I needed to say. Yes, I will share the review handout with you guys. It should be up there on the website under Unit 1 towards the end. Where are you? Here we go. Yeah, it's right there. It's on the last one. It's under Unit 1, Humans and Computer Interactions, days 17 through 19. It's right there. It says Unit 1 review. Take a look at that. And awesome. Good night, guys. I got to go.
Bye.
Hi.
Any questions? Any questions?
Yeah, hi. Anybody got questions?
Going once.
See ya.
Twice. Times you out. All right. Good night, guys. I'm sorry I have to go this. Next time will be longer. I apologize.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
Eric.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Does anybody who we haven't heard anything to add before I start actually putting you on the spot a little bit? Because, you know, I kind of want to hear from everybody and what they have to say and stuff. Okay. So, I want to say crayon.
My thing is my students are being really resistant to making thoughtful journal entries when I ask them to. They're really like wanting to do one sentence or a bullet point and then be done with it. And I think it might just be partially the type of student I have and the amount of writing they're required to do in classes in general. But if anyone has any ideas, that'd be great.
And I'm finding the same problem. It varies from my classes. Some classes, kids write more. Other classes, they give me bullet points. So I'm going through the same thing right now. I'm trying to. Gail, do you have any suggestions or anybody else?
I've made the journal a grade.
Okay.
For them.
And do you have have a rubric for it, or how do you?
Actually, what I do is sort of walk around and I look at it and you know I'll make little points like it's a little short considering the time I gave you and things like that. And I told them if I give you 5 minutes to write in your journal, expect you to write for 5 minutes. So it's going to become part of their grade. Not a huge part, but a part.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you.
The only thing I would say is that, you know, much like other comments that I've made, is it's early in the year. That's why we do this. One strategy that I know a lot of folks have settled on is the notion of, again, the spot check. Not every journal gets checked every day, but that, you know, they leave their journals in a box at the end of the period and they know that every X number of days you're going to check some number of them, and making sure that, you know, they're using the journal for the purposes that it's intended, which part of which is just to get their thoughts down before they share with others, right? But you know, if you've got a whole group of students that's never had to write very much before, then building up slowly is probably a good idea.
Anybody else have anything else to add before I have Beverly introduce herself and what school she's from? Hey, Beverly.
Sure. This is the first time I've been on here, so I'm sorry you're going to be patient with me.
No, just tell us your first and last name and where you're from.
Sure. Beverly Cassane from Capital Prep
Yeah, beautiful.
in Hartford.
Okay. All right. All right, Julie, do you have your hands up? And then I should get your last name because we're both, you know, the Slavic, you know, background. But.
So it's phonetic, so all the consonants are pronounced.
Okay.
So Jastrzębski. Or you could say it Jastrzębski, like that, but it's not Italian.
Okay.
Anyway, it's I was just going to say about the journals. I find it so interesting. I've got this very large class of boys from 9th to 12th grade and 2 girls. We just added a 3rd girl in there. But for some reason, I get them to write long journal entries, and I'm so surprised. And I think it's because the way I presented it to them was, this is our way to communicate between you and me, and this is how I can understand your feelings on this matter. And I always say, you know, this is my way to really understand what's going on with you. So the more detail you give me, that's great. And I said, I'm going to collect it, every other week. And, I'm not going to check everything, but I am going to respond to you. And I've already given them back their journals with, thought-provoking comments. So they know that it is being checked, but not all the time. And I don't know if Gail will not like this comment, but I felt that there were too many journal entries when we did our week, and I didn't want to overdo it with my students. So I've been picking and choosing the journal entries that I feel really push them to either starting the upcoming lesson or sometimes concluding a previous activity. And I've somehow gotten these kids, these too cool for school kids, to write these long journal entries.
That's fabulous. That is really fabulous. And it's fine you said that, because the reality is, as with all other kinds of things that happen in the PD, that's a sample of 10 lessons from the curriculum, right? And so pushing that journaling in the PD is more to make sure that you understand how important it is than it is to make you be happy that you're doing 18 journal entries per lesson. So I think that being judicious about when you give journal entries is really important. And what you did, I mean, I think what you're doing is fabulous. So that's great.
All right. Any?
Sure, I can piggyback on it. I will. My classroom is on the 3rd floor, and I work, I just do the one computer science class, and my K through 8 students are on my 1st floor. So I bring a mobile cart up there. And I also attempted to incorporate the platform of Outlook with the students. And since we started in July 6th, I've switched over. When we started Unit 2, I switched over to Edmodo. I didn't really switch over. They learned the platform. They used the Word and the applications. But my point is, on Edmodo, they will post their journal entries. And I really like that a lot. And sometimes we'll share, sometimes we don't. We'll do it, not that we don't share. We'll share it just verbally. We'll just get into it that way. But I don't have the room to post everything. So that's a huge, change in the curriculum that we were trained in the summer. But I think we need to accommodate for what we have and what we do. And also I have all football players. I don't have writers, I have football players. But we have a lot of fun, and I'm making it fun. And actually I got a book recommended to me on the whole point of view of computer science, which was it was just a relieving, and I'm going to run down and get it just so I can let you know. But because the other teacher is a science teacher, and she has one other class, and her class, she's suffering from boredom. And I put energy into it. I brought the Hershey bars. We just got done with that, and they loved it. So I don't know. I think it's how much fun you put into it, and adding the culture is definitely a plus.
Great. Okay. Let me see. We had a phone number call here. Who's 203-444-1094?
That would be Caitlin Corvo. I'm sorry I'm late. This is a terrible time. It's I just put my kids in bed, so I apologize for being so super late.
Okay. What school do you teach at?
Jonathan Law High School.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So we got a few minutes here before we move on. Drew, how's it going with you so far? It's hard to put you on. I want to hear from everybody in a Hangout.
Yeah. I'm having all the same issues as everyone else. Of course. Sorry. I feel like part of the time that is taken up, in addition to everything else that everyone else has already said, is that I'm having to embed just simple computer literacy. I didn't realize this, but one of the first days when they had to save their PowerPoints, I had to go around and show 8 different students just how to save. So that's also eating up some time, just trying to embed that base knowledge before I can even have them do things like an internet search or creating some type of, because they all want to do PowerPoints, but like they don't know how to work it efficiently.
Okay. All right. Jillian.
Hi. I'm not actually teaching it this year.
Okay, you're just
I
kind
won't be teaching it till next year, but I'm hearing a lot of good things. I'm taking notes, so
Oh, that's
hopefully
beautiful.
next year I'll have more ideas of what to do.
You just brought a smile to my face, by the way. Michelle.
Hi. One of the things that I'm wondering about is I actually did the internet unit before I did the computer buying project because I thought they'd be using the internet to do the computer buying project. And so they were so excited about doing the computer buying project. I mean, I have never seen any class as excited as they have been. And so that worked out really well, but that I did it that way because I didn't want them to do the internet before I did the
Don't worry about the dog. It's a common problem.
So, and because I have a lot of new students coming from middle school, and they don't have a lot of, at the middle school, they don't have a lot of instruction regarding the internet. So that's my comment.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on that? Okay. Rhonda.
I am not teaching it yet. I'm hoping for next quarter. So that won't be till maybe the end of October that I'll know for sure. So I'm just taking notes and learning from everyone's experiences.
That's great. I love to see you online. Right there. That's great. Thanks for being here. Frank.
I am in the same boat as these other ladies. I am just not teaching it right now. Aaron Zarnecki is, but I'm going to teach it next year, and I'm just listening.
No, beautiful, beautiful. I like to see that. And thank you for your commitment and coming for the hangout. Sure. Miss Ori. Miss Ori?
Oh, my button wouldn't work. Sorry.
Okay.
So I am currently trying to use it for 8th graders, and it is an optional class that we only meet once a week. So I'm kind of going through the same things that most people have been saying, like just trying to have them excited about it. Most of them just want to jump to the robotics part. Like they're trying to pick and choose, what they want, and rather than really being interested in following the progression. And so that's one thing. I'm just trying to think of different ways to introduce it. And I'm also, like others have said, finding the time goes so quick. I have about 45 minutes with them. And, with them sharing and making posters and using markers, all the stuff we were doing, it's taking a lot longer than I planned.
Yeah. So hang in there. Everybody's feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
And Caitlin.
Pretty much a lot of the same things. I have, for the most part, things that I thought wouldn't take as long are taking a little bit longer. And I think it's a good thing, though, because I remember you guys saying that if we're going to take longer on any unit, you would prefer it to be like at the front units instead of like the back units. And so like when we did the buying a computer project, that took a lot longer than I had anticipated, because while the kids know how to use a computer, they don't know the difference between storage versus memory, like a hard disk drive versus like RAM. So, we did a lot of talking about that. And luckily I'm teaching the AP Computer Science Principles course this year. So we were doing that almost like in tandem. So it's a good way to, and I was telling them this, like, you're going to need to know this for the AP class if you're taking it. So like there was a good tie in that way. But I'm also finding it difficult to be able to post things because I just don't have like the poster paper. But I used to work around. It's like we use big, huge whiteboards that that I got cut up at Home Depot. They're like it's supposed to be for cabinetry, but I had it cut up, and it works just as well as a whiteboard does. I mean, it doesn't wipe as well, but you just use the wipes, and they come pretty clean. So we're able to use that. But that's really, I mean, my biggest challenge so far has just been making sure that like I'm working within like our time frame, because we are only teaching this as a semester class. So we're really time constrained because we want to be able to get through at least the first 4 units. So.
Thanks for sharing. I'm also did the Home Depot thing too, because our school's only.
See, there you go.
So I learned that from someone from the summer. Okay, I'm glad to hear from them. I'm glad that, I try to, when we come to the Hangouts, I kind of want to hear from everybody. It's kind of a good practice that everybody at least get, some 2 cents in and participate. So didn't mean to put you on the spot. If I did, that's just part of the facilitating thing there. So, Gail, do you have anything to add before we move on?
No, I think this has been great. It's been good to hear that things seem to be going well in general. So, and that makes me feel good. So keep on trucking.
Oh, great. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing a folder with you in a Google Docs format. So if you have a Gmail account, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm still going to send it to you. I can still give you access. And we're going to start compiling resources. Unfortunately, the person who's supposed to get the online community for us, we had a little bit of a hiccup with the purchase order. So it's going through now, and once the purchase order goes through, I'll be able to pay him, and I'll have the website developed where we'll be able to have a repository of all our materials and stuff that we can go to and help each other out besides the CSK-10. If you haven't done that too, definitely check that out. I have, and get some ideas from that. All right. So with that, also, this is, me being, the vice president of CSTA. We have Computer Science Week coming up. It's in the agenda. It's a link. There's a website there. It's part of code.org. It's a really good idea. It's a really good recruiting tool, especially for people who haven't taught it yet. It's the week of December 5th through the 11th. Kicks off on that Sunday. So that's one way that a lot of code.org does their hour of code. So that's what I do in my school. I started off small, just doing it in my own classes. So if you're a little nervous on that, do the hour of code in your own classes. But then I have my high school kids, because I have 6 through 12, go out to other classrooms. And if you can find teachers, even if it's in a high school, a teacher might love to take a day off and just, for a class period and do the hour of code in their classroom. English teachers have loved it. Math teachers have loved it. They see the value of it, and that's why I start building support in my school for computer science. And that's how you get more kids interested. I will also be creating a folder that will have some resources for you, because I also do things like in morning announcements. I do like a little computer science announcements and stuff just for that week to build interest in computer science, just from about Grace Hopper, the first female programmer, and Alan Turing, developer of the modern computer. Just a little facts like that to get kids thinking about it. Does anybody else do anything for Computer Science Week? Anybody? Bueller, come on, Christy. No.
Yeah. So I always do code.org. Sometimes I think I've used Tinker. We've done some Scratch, because I see the 6, 7, 8, 11, 12.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of opportunities to fit lessons in here and there. So we typically pause whatever we're doing, just in case the units don't line up just right with the dates. And we do some type of coding, game-based, Blockly, fun activity.
So yeah, I find it to be a really good recruiting tool. And like if you're a Harvard school and you need the service learning hours for kids, is another thing you can do with that. And go down to the elementary schools that have lower level classes and do that. I even had my kids last year. We went out to suburban schools. We had the inner cities do the hour code with entire elementary schools. If you haven't familiar with the hour code, I will send it to you. It's really simple for kids to do. And yes, go ahead, Kareen.
Sorry, I'm playing with my hair.
Yeah. That's all I end up. It's a real simple thing to do, the hour of code, and it develops so much interest in my my middle school that I'm getting a stronger and stronger recruiting classes in my high school classes. So it's been taking a couple of years. You start small, start talking about computer science, and start getting kids seeing they do the hour code and they see that they can do it and get through all 20 levels. I will send the link to everybody in an email. So check it out. Go through it yourself. It's only about 20 levels. They have various different types of coding you can do. Last year, I focused on the Star Wars, and they have Frozen and stuff for the younger kids. Even the high school kids love it. I actually have done things in my middle school. We had a contest. You had to complete it. I had all 600 kids complete it, and then we had each grade got put in for a $50 tablet. So each kid from each grade who completed and got their certificate was able to go into a drawing for a tablet. So that was another way I've done that, just to generate interest, because recruiting and kids, we have that stigma with computer science, and kids don't know it, and they need to get exposed to it, and it helps you with recruiting for the future. So just be looking for emails from me. I really, really push the hour code. Like I said, ask your English teacher, or your math teacher, and that week in December, hey, you want a period off? Let's come in and do, the hour code. You'll find kids, they'll do it. And then you open eyes with teachers too, because I've had kids that teachers say, wow, these students, they don't do well in my classroom, but they're the first ones to finish, and they're helping out other kids and stuff. So they see the value, and all the kids are engaged for their hour. So it helps get you also support among the staff for what you're doing with pushing computer science in school. All right, so I strongly recommend to start small if you don't feel comfortable with it. But I shared videos with teachers during that week too. I have things like on Grace Hopper, and then Alan Blum, a TED Talk that talks about the internet and the wires, the actual wires we can touch and stuff like that. So I have a whole bunch of little short videos that because we have an advisory period in our school. So teachers during that period can share and do computer science. So I do a big hoopla for the week. Does anybody else have anything else to share on that? And familiar with hour code or anything like that? Or computer science week, for that matter? Okay. No one? Okay, because when we wrap this up, we don't have to. I'm a firm believer in that we don't push meetings to, it's got to be the hour if we have nothing else to say. But the last thing on the agenda, I'm going to hold you for one more thing. So
Can I just add one thing? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Thanks, James. I did get the name of that book. It's called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Pirsig. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that.
Heard of it. I don't think I've ever read it.
Right. It's some point of view, different perspective on it. So I don't know. I'm going to look it up. But somebody just recommended it today, so I just wanted to pass it along.
Okay.
Thanks.
Great. Anybody else before I move on to CSTA? Okay. CSTA. We're having our next meeting at Trinity College. We're having an online meeting, but in October. I'll send it out. We haven't solidified that. In the agenda, it's at Trinity College on, what did I think I put in the agenda? On November 14th from 5 to 7. Hope see you there. Food's provided, okay? So you do get your, usually snacks and pizza. It's a way to network with people, other computer science teachers across the state. We are building, we need more people. The more people, the better. Because we're looking at having a computer science summit for the state of Connecticut next October, which that might move a little bit. We're going to invite speakers. We're going to invite administrators, teachers, anybody teaching technology. It'll be like almost like the STEM conference, but we'll just be for computer science. And your participation and help would be greatly appreciated, from just helping to organize it if you can, or just talking about it, because we have to pitch it to people to get more people involved so we can go. It would be greatly to talk about exploring computer science even. And like I said, it's a way to continue to network across the state with other computer science teachers, a way to help promote computer science, and it costs nothing. So I hope to see you there on the 14th if you can make it. We're trying to build across the state because this ECS, you're doing now, was actually at this meeting where it came to life, where the State Department was sitting across at the meeting and mentioned it and took off. So it's a great way to network. We were having also in December, the FBI, we're having the FBI come and do a security thing. We haven't decided on the date yet, but it'll be just for CSTA members, where you come and the FBI come and put on this hour-and-a-half lecture and demonstration on security on computers and stuff. So it's a good thing to be a part of. When we do invite, like last year, we had somebody from IBM come and speak to us at one of the meetings. So throughout the year, we have people come and meet, and network, and you meet business leaders too who are interested in the community. So it's, we're still building, it's a good thing to get on the ground floor, and we hope to see you there in your participation on Trinity College, and I'll post out where it's going to be for you so you know where to come that day, what room to go to. It's usually in the Washington room, if you know Trinity College in Mather Hall in the Washington room. So we hope to see you there. I know some of you have been there before in the past, and we're really starting to grow and hopefully make a difference. But like I said, the big thing next year is having this computer science summit for the state of Connecticut is what we're working on. Okay. And we travel, we do it about every 2 months, and we do things. We go to various museums and have our meetings and stuff like that. So it's not just, we went last year, it was at the West Hartford New Children's Museum and stuff like that, and promoting. So we just don't do it in schools and universities and stuff. We actually work with other organizations that promote education and technology. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to add? No? Well, everybody have a wonderful night. I think our first ECS Hangout was a pretty good success. And I hope to see everybody on October 15th at our next PD. And it's web design. I mistakenly put Scratch. So we'll be working on some web design. All right. Everybody have yourself a wonderful night. Good night now.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
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 Good night.
Good night.
Good night.